Hey everyone, Robert here, author of Expansion Mastery, the practical guide to living a fully engaged life. Are you ready to start living your life to the fullest? Are you ready and willing to transform yourself and your life from ordinary to extraordinary? Are you willing to begin living a more expansive experience? Welcome, my friends, to the Fully Engaged Life. Welcome back to the show, everyone, and welcome to the third installment in this newest series. Here we are addressing a topic of the duality of life and how to better understand life through the duality of expansion and contraction. I had requests to go a little deeper into the subject of experiences and even share some of my own more expansive experiences. So that's what I'll be doing today. So we're going to take a look at more experience-based understanding of expansion and contraction. So I will be expanding upon this area of experiences. Hey, if you can't make a pun out of your own material, what's the use, right? All right, so let's get started. We've got a lot to cover in this show. So we left off with discussing the idea of experiences and how to distinguish whether they were expansion or contraction in nature. I'd like to then go into a topic that is all too common, and I think this will be one that all of us will be able to relate to, either in regards to expansion or contraction. And this is the idea of experiencing the things where you live. Many people live in areas with amazing sights and activities, yet they fail to ever experience them. Some live their entire lives in that area and simply never experience their own city, county, state, and whatever it has to offer. While others may end up moving to such an incredible area, and then they fall into the same pattern, just going right into the usual confined routine. To do so is obviously contraction. My wonderful wife and I, when we moved here to California, to the Bay Area, we had already made the conscious decision beforehand to take advantage of everything this place had to offer, at least in regards to our interests. We did all kinds of things, and we continue to do so. So as soon as we moved here, we immediately jumped into the experiences of the area in order to help with our own personal sense of spiritual expansion. We did all kinds of amazing things because, let's face it, the Bay Area has no shortage of incredible sights and activities. Some of the things we did: we took a champagne seaplane tour of the area. We kayaked through the San Francisco Bay. We had seals swimming along beside us. It was fantastic. We attended the cherry blossom festivals in Japantown, trained with one of our Taiji teachers from China in Chinatown. We hiked Mount Tam many times, kayaked through Tamales Bay so we could see the bioluminescence. We hot air ballooned over Napa Valley. We have taken an extravagant and delicious dinner cruise through the San Francisco Bay for my birthday. We took a 3-hour sailing experience with a wine club through the San Francisco Bay. We did rappelling and spelunking and exploring caves, and the list goes on and on and on. I highly recommend any of those activities to anyone living in this area or visiting the area, you won't be sorry. We even took a tour of Alcatraz, and you think, oh, it's a prison. But I have to say, the experience was incredible. The tour itself is so well put together. It is a masterpiece of a tour. And when you actually get to see and understand some of the history of that island, it's quite fascinating. And it's rather iconic, as is the Golden Gate Bridge. We have sailed underneath that bridge out into the ocean, whale watching by the Farallon Islands. We have been here now a little over a decade, and we have put that decade to excellent use in regards to our expansion. Think about it. I could be at home, sitting around, staring at my phone, or watching the absolute trash that's on television these days, or I could be out doing those things, having those experiences. It's a no-brainer, right? Yet so many of the people we talk to, many who have lived here their entire lives and others who have moved here, haven't engaged in much of anything. All of those activities are examples of expansion, of living a fully engaged life. Prior to the pandemic, my wife and I sought out various experience-based adventure gifts that we would surprise each other with for special occasions. And we're very much looking forward to returning to that tradition. When I was a teenager and we lived in Upper Michigan for a few years, we even saw the sights there. I mean, we went to the Tequamanon Falls and the Sioux Locks, and we took a speedboat out on Lake Michigan, and we did all kinds of things. I've fished Lake Michigan and Lake Superior. I ice fished on Big Manistee Lake. I smelt dipped during the seasonal smelt runs in the mouth of an inlet to Lake Michigan. Speared suckerfish. Went snowmobiling. Rode on inner tubes pulled by a cord attached to snowmobiles on the lake when it was frozen over in the winter, and we rode that same tube tied to a speedboat in the summer. I hiked, I hunted deer, I hunted birds. I spent some incredible time with my grandfather out in the woods. So, in such a small area, there isn't really all that much for anyone to do, at least in my opinion. I still managed to see the sights that were in the area and engage in the activities that a place such as Upper Michigan has to offer. So there's some contrast for you. There is no excuse no matter where you live. There are things to see and things to do to experience where you live. If you've already been there, done that, then maybe it's time to move on. Maybe it's time to engage in your own sense of expansion, as did we, and move somewhere else where you can have new experiences, bigger experiences. Or you can stay hidden away from life, living in fear and staring at a screen. One of the things that is expansive is striving to improve yourself and your life. Self-improvement is, by its very nature, expansion. I mean, look at all the things you could do to expand and improve upon yourself. One of the things my wife and I did is we learned how to cook when we were in Italy. We even took a cooking class there. We have taken in a class with Morimoto, the Iron Chef. We've done all kinds of things in order to learn how to cook better. It's something we enjoy doing, and we really enjoy doing that together. We cook every meal together. And we have a great time as we do it. That, too, just in its nature, is expansion. When all you do is go through a drive-thru, pick up fast food, and go home and gobble it while you're distracted with a TV screen, that's contraction. But when you're learning to cook, you put on a little music, maybe get a glass of wine, whatever, and you talk and you cook together. It's awesome. And the best part is you get to eat what you cooked afterwards. I mean, how can you go wrong, right? The same goes with training, any type of training. If you train in Tai Chi or martial arts or yoga or whatever it is, if you're taking it seriously, not just following the new trendy thing like beer yoga or dog and cat yoga or whatever goofy thing they're making up these days, if you're serious about the training, it can aid in your expansion. Anything that contains a sense of self-improvement is, by nature, expansion. There are always ways that we can find to enjoy and expand at the same time. Even something like dressing up for dinner, dressing for an appropriate occasion is expansion. All too commonly today, people dress down. Of course, it's in the name of comfort. But that is contraction. See, if I normally dress in something somewhat comfortable at home, and I'll be honest with you, my wife and I, we don't own sweatpants or anything like that. We never dress like that. Even when we are just alone at home together. But when we go out, we dress appropriately. We put on a nice pair of pants, nice shirt, nice shoes, and we go out for any meal. Doesn't have to be a special occasion or anything, just because we're going out and we're going to enjoy a nice meal together. We believe in dressing and looking appropriate. When you're at home and you're dressed in something comfortable, fine. Believe me, I get that. But then to stay in that and go out, can you see how that's contraction? You're contracting and you're going to get lazier and sloppier, all in the name of being comfortable. Dressing appropriately does not automatically lead to discomfort. That, my friends, is just the excuse of a lazy mind. And it has become all too common for people to dress down when they go out anymore. Here's another way to understand expansion: through the freedom of movement. Yes, the greater range of mobility we have in our body, the more things we are capable of doing, feeling, and enjoying. We feel freer, we feel lighter. This is expansion. To have a body that restricts your movement is contraction. When the body tissues are tight and your range of motion is limited, you feel drawn in, stiff, sore, heavy. That's contraction. My wife has even told me that in the hospitals they use the term contracted when referring to someone who's bedbound because they're physically drawn inward. Interesting, huh? This sort of stiffness and drawing inward is what normally happens to the physical body at death. It should not be happening while we are alive. Yet, how many people take the time to stretch and to do mobility exercises, to move and keep their bodies healthy and in a state of expansion? So let's take a moment to pause and reflect. When was the last time you experienced the sights where you live? Even if it's considered touristy, it doesn't matter. It may be touristy for a reason. It may be attracting people there for a reason. When was the last time you engaged in some of the incredible activities that are available in your area? When was the last time you actually got engaged in a self-improvement type of activity? I'm not just talking about reading a book. That's fine. That's great. But I'm talking about actually doing, actually experiencing yourself, such as cooking or doing some sort of training, something that would improve you, your body, your mind, your spirit. When was the last time you engaged in something like that? When was the last time you consciously made the decision to dress nicely to go out to dinner? even if it's just to a common, normal restaurant in your area. When was the last time that you decided to leave the comfortable clothes behind and dress appropriately for the occasion? When was the last time you took the time to actually start to move your body, to increase your range of motion and the way your body feels? This reflection allows us to determine whether we are becoming expansive or whether we are starting to fall into a state of contraction. And since we are talking about the body and range of mobility as a sense of freedom and expansion, let's take that even deeper, shall we? How about we go into the area of energy? In this case, what is usually called chi or ki, this vital life force. When we engage the energetic system of the body, any and all of the energetic systems from all the traditions, they should be expansive in nature. Let's look at this. If we examine what's typically called aura, the electromagnetic field that surrounds our body, yes, it's measurable and you can feel it. When this field is weak, it's smaller. It's drawn inwards towards your physical body. When you do things to engage this electromagnetic field and make it stronger, make yourself healthier, that field does what? It expands. The more expansive your electromagnetic field, the stronger it is, and then all of the different layers of that field are more accessible to you. And then we can become capable of doing some pretty extraordinary things, as well as possibly improving our health. If we look at the chakra system, everybody's familiar with the chakra system, right? It's very similar in that when the chakras are open and healthy, they are open. Open is expansion. Just as we talk about an open heart, which is expansion, or a closed heart, which is contraction. You see, chakras typically respond to the emotional charge of energy, even if it's the emotional charge within the energy of a verbal exchange, a physical exchange, something like that. That is what they are responding to. So these energy vortexes within the body, these chakras, open and expand outward when they receive positive, loving praise. And they wither and close, which is contraction, when they receive negative criticism. We can even go into this in regards to the chi meridians within the body and how when the energy is flowing well through our body, obviously we have a sense of health and vitality. We have what we usually just perceive as feeling good or, hey, I got some energy today. I just feel good today, right? That's when the energy is flowing nicely through the body. And when there are blockages and stagnation in the energy channels, which happens from physical injuries, various illnesses, emotional things, all of these things can cause blockage and stagnation in the meridian energy system. And when that energy is not flowing well, not only do we not have much energy, we don't feel as though we have a lot of energy to do anything. We don't have any vitality, and our health is negatively impacted as well. So when the meridian system is all clear and open and flowing nicely, that is expansion. But when there are blockages and stagnation in these channels, the energy doesn't flow well. We don't feel as though we have a lot of energy to do anything. And our health is typically negatively impacted from that. That's all contraction. And this is why in various spiritual systems, it is very important to engage the body. The energy systems are typically associated with that of the body. So we always strive to improve and expand upon the state of our energetic system, the physical body itself, such as range of mobility and things as I discussed earlier. And then we also work on the mind. And once all of those things are in order, we're set up in an excellent place to be able to then go inward enough to begin focusing on the spirit. But since we are here, we're alive in what we perceive as reality. We're living with a foot in two worlds. One is the physical and mental, and the other is the spiritual. The whole idea is to create health and vitality and balance and a state of expansion in all of those areas. And they are all working together. They are all connected. And this is why I share the totality of this in the practices within Expansion Mastery. We address the physicality of the body, the energetics of the body, the mind, and the spirit. This should give you an excellent idea of the nature of experiences in terms of expansion and contraction. Through this, you can more consciously decide how you live your life. And by choosing to consciously decide to live a more expansive type of life, you will begin living a far more fully engaged life. And of course, as always, please remember to visit me at www.expansionmastery.com. You can grab an autographed copy of the book Expansion Mastery there, as well as audio programs, all kinds of other things. Please go check it out. And as always, the importance of the social media performance cannot be denied. Please do your best to help me share, do all the like, subscribe, the little bell buttons, all of those things they do on there now. Whatever the latest, greatest, coolest thing is, please do all that stuff for us to help us out and keep us going here. And as always, I wish you the very best in your practices and your life. May it be an expansive one. Take care.